I'd like to call the SNRHA Regional Housing Authority meeting to order at 12 p.m. and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move into roll call.
Chairperson William McCurdy.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Tig Sagerblum.
Absent excused.
Commissioner Marissa Brown.
Present.
Commissioner Nancy Bruni.
Absent excused. And please mark them present as they arrive.
Commissioner Richard Turchio.
Absent excused.
Commissioner Kaylee Cox.
Absent excused.
Commissioner Valerie Craig. Commissioner Valerie Craig.
She is present online.
Commissioner Michael Disman.
I don't know if they're hearing us, but he is present online.
Commissioner LaShanna Turner. A quorum is present and we are in compliance with the Nevada open meeting law.
All right, thank you so much. We will now. Yeah, please mark Commissioner Sagerblum is present and anyone else that walks in. We'll now move on to public comment. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of the discussion, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, will be limited to 3 minutes. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of the presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote. Public comment that is repetitious, slanderous, offensive, and inflammatory, amounts to personal attacks, or interferes with the rights of the speakers is not allowed. Any person who acts in violation of these rules will be excused for the remainder of the meeting. If you have a public comment card, and I think they were being collected at the front, please bring it forward and please state your name for the record.
It's Phyllis Carpenter, 5200 Alpine Sandman. Advocacy is who I'm representing. You guys are supposed to post these agendas a week beforehand, at least 3 days prior to a meeting. We are not getting these agendas until we walk in the store, and we don't have time. It takes like, who knows how long to go through these, but we are not getting the proper, we're not handed them until we walk in the door, and that's completely unfair. And I said something 2 months ago to Mr. Jordan, and they're not being posted at the properties, they're not being given out at the pre-board. We're not getting them until we walk in the door, and that's not right.
All right, typically we do not go back and forth during the public comment period, but if you want to clarify the record, I would entertain that at this point.
Jessica, would you give clarity as to how we post?
Yes, Jessica Walker, Executive Coordinator for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Each notice is posted on the properties the Thursday prior to our board meetings. The notices are posted on our website by 12 p.m. the Monday prior to the board meeting, which is the rule within the Nevada open meeting law. And also at the property level, if requested at the office, the full packet is made available to each resident.
But each office does get the packet.
Correct. The packet is sent to each office the Thursday the week before, and the notices are posted in the office.
If there isn't anything on the agenda that you would like to address, we ask that you wait to the end of the next citizens participation period to bring forward comments. But right now, we ask that all speakers coming to the mic speak to items that are on the agenda.
Correct, but if we're not getting the agenda, then how are we supposed to comment on it?
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes from the June 29th, 2023 meeting.
Move to approve.
Okay. We have a motion by Vice Chair Sagerblum, a second by Commissioner Turner. Is there any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Anyone opposed? Motion is approved unanimously, and please mark Commissioner Bruni as present. We'll now move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items and deletion of any items. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Vice Chair Sagerblum. Is there any discussion at this period? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The agenda is approved. Can we check online to see if they are able to hear?
Yeah, just announce it on the, see if they're able to hear.
Commissioners Craig and Turner, can you hear us online?
Is this,
Oh, sorry, Commissioners Craig and Disman, can you hear us online?
If you can't tell me wave.
If you can hear us, can you please wave? Is there a way they
While
can
we
call
get that
in?
figured out, we're going to move on to section number 2, to receive report from our Executive Director on administrative and operational activities of the agency. Director Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just had a couple things I want to touch the board as public on. First of all, I want to give a wholehearted thank you to the staff and those commissioners that were able to attend our landlord symposium. Immediately following the last board meeting, we hosted landlords to talk about the incentive programs. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Test, test. Can you hear me, commissioners?
no, that was supposed to be muted. Yeah, that's a different system. The system is
I can call him on my phone.
yeah.
She says she can't hear.
Okay. Give me just a second.
I barely hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a different system.
Commissioner Desmond, can you hear me? I can hear you now, Brett. Thank you.
Okay, we're trying to get it worked out. They're
Oh,
calling you.
okay, just so you know, okay, because I can't see anything.
You can't see anything either?
Oh,
Mhm.
Followed by pound.
Oh, don't touch anything, because we can see you.
I think for the purpose of where we are within the agenda, we can keep moving forward because we are not taking votes.
Very good. Okay, sounds good.
And if you want to step, and get together, we can do that.
Very good. So,
Thank you.
so again, I wanted to thank all for attending the landlord symposium. We had close to 400 landlords in attendance. We talked about the landlord incentive package that the board approved. We also focused a lot on improved customer service delivery. So we're excited about the processes we have in place. As a staff, we're trying to be more proactive in getting out to the community to both continue to work with existing landlords as well as recruit others. I also wanted to say thank you for the very well-attended and very good board retreat and educational process we had last week. Spent a day and a half just working with board and staff on helping understand roles, responsibilities, and building relationships. So that was, quite the event to have. We're kicking off a RAD project over at Hullum Homes, and we've also kicked off our RAD at Jamestown Towers. I wanted to bring to your attention a lot of things that we got accomplished during the week is in the monthly newsletter that we'll continue to do. I wanted to mention that, over time, we've talked about building opportunities for residents. Next month, we're going to kick off our first activity with the Las Vegas Raiders. We have a fun-filled event that we're working with some of our youth and the Raider organization. So as we get more details on that, I'll come back, but that's one of the community relationships we were really, really working hard to try and develop. And I think that does conclude my report. One other thing, I'm sorry. We're going to give a formal presentation in next month's board meeting on the year-to-date update, if you will, on this customer satisfaction survey we've talked about. We've had a couple iterations of it. I think you saw one, but we've we went out, took another opportunity to ask residents about safety, about work orders, things of that nature, and we'll bring back a formal report next month. That does conclude my report.
Thank you. We're still working through technological issues, but we do have a quorum present here. Although they will not be able to get in right now, we're still working through it. But for the audience's verification, we're going to put them on speakerphone and have them vote.
We have Commissioner Craig on.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
It sounds like Desmond's in.
Okay, so we'll move on to item number.
Chairperson McCree, if you can redo the last two items that you voted on, just in case there wasn't a quorum, that's fine.
Okay.
I think item 3 was first.
Okay.
3 and 4.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make another vote on the approval of the minutes because we didn't have volume. So if I entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes. We have a motion by Vice Chair Segerbloom, a second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion at this point? Hearing seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is approved. We'll now move on to item number 4, another vote on the approval of the agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items and or deletion of any items. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Turner,
Second.
second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion? Hearing said none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Anyone opposed? All right, motion is adopted. We'll now move on to section number 3, consent agenda item number 6.
Everybody's saying that I can hear my phone.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Yep. We have a motion by Vice Chair Segerbloom, second by Commissioner Bruni. Any discussion? Hearing seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion is adopted. That concludes the end of our consent agenda item. We will now move on to section number 4, acknowledgement of our departed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last gathering, we've lost the following residents: Danny Avicedo, Kathy Bryant Ford, Michael Mochida, Michael Telber, Robert Good, Rocco Manzi, Rosie Tate, and Ross Goldstein. Let's please have a moment of silence for the departed. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 8, approval to increase Spark Flight Studios contract number C19039 by $1,032,872 for design services for the rehabilitation and modernization of Janice Brooks Bay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Frank Stafford, Director of Development Modernization. I just want to highlight just one item I need to correct in the background. It indicates that we have 3 projects with homies, about it's actually 5 projects. So with that change, I'll just go through the issue. Background on this is October 2022. The Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak and Nevada Housing Division announced the first round of awards for the $500 million Home Meets Nevada initiative. The Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority was awarded $67 million in Home Meets Nevada funds to complete 5 projects, one of which was the rehabilitation and modernization of Janice Brooks Bay, which was awarded $6.5 million. Janice Brooks Bay is a 100-unit family development built in 1972. As it is owned by Affordable Housing Department, no federal funds can be used for this property. As such, the creation of the Home Meets Nevada funds was even more vitally important to the Nevada housing market, as these funds can be used for both public housing and non-aided affordable housing developments. The SNRHA has engaged Sparklight Studios to provide the architectural design services needed for the rehabilitation and modernization of Janice Brooks Bay. Sparklight submitted a proposal of $1,032,872 for these services. A task order has been issued in the amount of $90,654 to complete preliminary work needed to get this project started. And that's leaving a balance due of $942,218. Funding for these services will be paid out of the project fund, which will be created from the SNRHA development reserves and then reimbursed back to us from the Home Means Nevada funds. Action requested, the Executive Director requests the board to approve to increase Sparkflight Studios LLC contract number C19039 by $942,218 for the rehab and modernization of Janice Brooks Bay.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
I wonder,
Go ahead. Commissioner, Vice Chair Sagerblum.
so is this something where we'll submit receipts to the state and then they'll reimburse us going forward?
Yeah, typically, the way it works with the tax credit projects is we'll have some upfront pre-development costs. And then as the closing of the conversion to start construction, we'll submit our first bill for any items that were outstanding at that point, such as architectural fees, could be market studies, what have you. And then the housing authority be reimbursed at that particular time once the project converts. And any other buildings after that, the funds would just be wired through the transaction, so the housing authority won't put up any money after the project closes. It's just pre-development costs.
Thank you.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes, thank you. I was looking over, it's 100 homes. We can house 100 families, is this correct? Once this is finished.
Well, it's an existing apartment building that was built in 1972. There's 100 units spread out over roughly 14, 15 buildings. But there, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any type of rehab work since it was built at that time frame.
So we expect to maybe be able to house 100 of families by the time we're finished?
Yes, it would be kind of like the RAD projects we do, where we have public housing units. We'll just move families out, redo those units. So what we're doing is basically putting in new infrastructure, new wiring, drywall cabinets, what have you, so that the building will have another 25, 30 years of useful life.
Will this be feasible for us to, if there's relocation from other RAD developments that we're doing there, we can use those as a place for people to move into?
It would be under the affordable housing program, so they would have to meet the income requirements for affordable housing. But keep in mind, the individuals that are living there now, similar to RAD, will probably choose to stay on that property. And then if there's any units that are left, like say there are 20 families aren't there or they're vacant, then we'll move new people into those units.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just wanted to mention, Commissioners, this is one of the properties that we'll include in the property tour that we talked about having.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I entertain a motion for approval.
Approve.
Motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Turner. Any other discussion? Hearing and none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Anyone abstains? Motion is adopted. We'll now move on to item number 9, approval to increase SNRHA of Southern Nevada's contract C-1000 in the amount of $50,000.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Johnny Shaw, Procurement Manager. This item is to increase the SNRHA contract. Background, as pursuant to the contract C-21000, the SARS Executive Office requests approval to increase this contract for the above noted services. The contract was initially for 1 year with 4 one-year renewal options. As of today, it has 2 remaining renewal options. Additionally, this is an African-American woman-owned company, and she, I'm not sure if she's online or not, but she was notified of the board meeting. Action requested, Executive Director requests the Board of Commissioners to review and approve to increase contract C-21000 for the security and fire monitoring alarm systems in the amount of $50,000 for outstanding invoices, and also to get us through the remainder of this fiscal year. Any questions?
Are any questions from members of the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll now move to a vote. We'll have a approval by Commissioner Vice Chair Sagerbloom, a second by Commissioner Bruni. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? Motion is unanimously adopted. We'll now move on to item number 10.
Item 10 is approval to increase the rent roll contract number C23025 in the amount of $150,000. Background, as pursuant to the contract C23025, SNRHA's Executive Office requests approval to increase this contract for the above noted services. This is a joinder contract and was initially originated for 1 year with 4 SNRHA 1-year renewal options. As of today, it has 4 remaining renewal options. Due to the nature of this contract, Section 3 is not applicable. Additionally, this is a wholly owned subsidiary of Yardi Systems, which is our property management system. Action requested, the Executive Director requests the Board of Commissioners to review and approve to increase contract number C23025 for the work number verification services in the amount of $150,000 for verification services and pay out outstanding invoices of employees and residents for the remainder of this fiscal year to get us through September 30, 2023. So this is a real-time employment and income verification system that is tied again to the Yardi platform, and it is lost my train of thought. The software is called the Work Number. And some of you may be familiar with that technology. Any questions?
Are there any questions from members of the board, either in person or online? Hearing and seeing none, we have a motion by Vice Chair Sagerville, second by Commissioner Bruni. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? Motion is approved. This is now going to move on to section number 6, new business items. Are there any items of new business that the board would like to be considered at the next meeting? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll now move to the second comment period for the general public. This is time reserved for items that are not on the agenda. We ask that you please come forward at this time. State your name for the record. And we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Phyllis Carpenter. Okay, so I'm going to read to you some of the stuff that is in, hang on. This is a notice from the FHEO notice FEHO 2011-1. It says the purpose of this note, oh, hold on. It's about non-discrimination policies and the actions that the housing authorities must take. It's the following regulations refer to statutory and regulatory requirements for public housing authorities, regardless of the status of moving to work demonstration, to comply with non-discrimination and equal opportunity requirements. 24 CFR 960.103. Public housing authorities must administrate public housing in accordance with equal opportunity requirements imposed by contracts and federal law, including the authorities cited in 24 CFR 5.105. The provisions to affirmatively further fair housing, 24 CFR 903.7. As part of the annual planning process, public housing authorities must certify conformity with the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Fair Housing Act, Sections 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Title II of the American Disabilities Act of 1990, and affirmatively furthering fair housing. Moving to work public housing authorities meet the certification requirements through the annual moving to work plan described in the annual moving to work agreement and attached B threads. There are a lot of regulations that aren't being followed. First off, the RAB board members, I have the bylaws that I requested 2 months ago and still have not received. These are from 2016. They need to be revised every three years. They should be revised. You guys have members on your annuals and your 5-year plans from 2017. There's signatures from the RAD board from 2017. They're only allowed to be members for up to 3 years, and they can do terms for up to 3 terms. But you're using the same signatures on every annual and 5-year from 2017. The dates on them are 2017. The signatures from 2017. So how are you passing these annuals and these 5 years with signatures from people from 2017? It's not fair. It's just not fair. And okay, so when you go in to do a mold remediation and you know the unit is so infested with mold that you take out all the walls in that unit, you need to test the units next to it, especially when seniors are living there.
Thank you so much, and we ask that you please follow up after the meeting if there are any further clarification needed. Thank you and welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Shamoya Lacey. I'm here on behalf of myself and Sandman. I was here at the last meeting in regards to my illegal eviction. I had a meeting with Miss Mitchell, Miss Lee, and Amber, and another young lady that is currently here yesterday. I was advised prior to the meeting that their legal counsel told them that the proceedings of the eviction was done legally. Now, I proved to them that it was several discrepancies yesterday because they weren't aware of how it generally started to where they said I came up with this numerous amount that I owed, $3,000. We came to the understanding yesterday that it was down to 18, that it started from $8, and what it stemmed from, her office managers, her directors failed to tell her the information and how they failed to give me information or come to these meetings, how they missed them, how they didn't give me the proper resources, how they had me come after evicting me. The paperwork is wrong. They put dates, say I got evicted May 4th, they put the eviction. I was out May 11th. They didn't come up with a decision till almost 30 days after. Mind you, I'm homeless this whole time. I didn't even get to go in my place and get my things out until June 20th. Okay? All the way after having meetings with them, nothing still happened. I still wasn't given the opportunity to be housed somewhere while they do this investigation. I sat in front of their housing authority with no ride, no nothing, after being homeless, after being put out, even yesterday showing them that it was a discrepancy and being told, okay, we're gonna do another investigation. So what do I do until then? Where's the money that was provided for the resources for I don't have to be on the street? I haven't been given those opportunities, and I'm here and I'm steady fighting and reaching out to people. The attorney never reached out to me, you guys' attorney, who informed her that it was done illegally, because I have proof that it wasn't. So she can't come up with that conclusion if she does not have the correct documentation or the information. She can't just go by what she's being told if she has not spoken to the other party or received any documentation from the office manager stating how she did this eviction, why she did it, on the terms she did it. Did she provide any resources or anything prior to help me not be evicted? No, she didn't. This woman who proceeded with this eviction and served this eviction has not came to one meeting yet. She's been to 2, correction. The first one when I got evicted and I contested it, and the second one that she was supposed to come in person, she sat right over the building on Flamingo in the office on the phone and had the meeting. I asked, well, why is it she couldn't come? She wasn't there.
Good afternoon. My name is Madeline Rhodes, and I am actually paper.
Ms. Rhodes?
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so my name is Madeline Rose, and I am actually the CEO of Sandman Community Advocacy Firm LLC, which is a resident-owned business in housing. We advocate for small businesses and those that are in the community. We also assist them with becoming diversity certified. We also assist disadvantaged communities, elders, single parents, youth, community residents within housing, as well as homeless. Today, I come and as a representation of Ms. Lacey, which is homeless due to an eviction. HUD has made over $19 million available to fair housing partners to respond to fair housing evictions, many which may be related to pandemic and evictions. Funds are to be used for families and individuals experiencing housing instabilities. HUD also has resources such as the emergency housing vouchers and additional assistance to assist those experiencing homelessness. HUD has been working with the Department of Treasury to help Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP, grantees connect with tenants behind on rent due to utilities or financial assistance. We call upon the state and the local ERAP grantees, as well as the Housing Authority, to lean into these flexibilities as well as provided in this program so that we can get the assistance out quickly to those facing homelessness. There's also $20 million available as a grant program that plays an intricate role in helping individuals and families of color and of disabilities, which this resident, Ms. Shamoya Lacey, has not been extended that service. I ask you guys to reconsider her eviction process and have that conversation with her to give her the proper services as well as other residents facing it. In Marble Manor alone, there has been at least 97 evictions from 2023 to 2022 to 2023. And I think those strongly need to be reevaluated and looked at strongly. Graciously, I appreciate you guys and have a great day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward at this time? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Natasha Smith. I'm a tenant at Lansman Gardens in Henderson, Nevada. I wanted to bring the attention to the payment ledgers that are not being recorded in the correct payment amounts or not recorded at all, which leave an outstanding balance on tenants, which has been going on since 2021 on the property of Lansman Gardens, and still ongoing, in which the notices of myself and other tenants are being evicted for outstanding balances in most cases are unknown due to the negligence and selfishness of the prior manager in the year of 2021. I also have recorded contact with the manager doing exactly that, and now me, myself, and many others are being affected and fighting still to keep the roofs over our heads due to what she has done to us in that year. So I really don't know as to how we go forward into this. I've been everywhere. I've been seeking help every which way. So I just wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. And again, thank you guys. I really appreciate everything you do provide for us. But yes, that is an ongoing problem to this day that we're still fighting. Thank you.
Commissioner, for the record, Lansman Gardens is the property that was managed by an outside company that we are taking over. So we'll meet with the tenant and get some more clarity on her issues, but it just needs to be known that due to a number of issues that we've had, we've been given permission by HUD and the state to bring that property back into SNRHA's management process.
Commissioner Brody.
Thank you. Mr. Jordan, does that mean that the payment system and the system of recording payments is now under the SNRHA's jurisdiction?
Yes, it means that we're going to review everything to make sure not only that we're doing things right, but any harm to existing tenants that we can identify, we'll make those corrections as well.
Is there anyone else looking to come forward at this period? Hearing and seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.